Hello.
Hello.
He did come on.
I'm here. I'm always coming in on two wheels right at the end.
I hear you.
I'm always coming and going to and froing. I'll tell you, it's a busy time.
Dr. Stedman, if I could add to Dr. Ramsey's comments about the internship, I had a call today from one of my CC1. She's at it's Bridges. She's at Lancaster High School. And she has been locked. I mean, teachers are locked out of the building, and her principal says no. And that she cannot come in. It's just her and the custodians that come in. So she's worried about her hours. She's got about 50 this semester, but that leaves her with about 30.
Yeah, I think Gail's going to probably address that tonight.
Okay, thank you.
That's exactly right. That's the first thing I've got. We're a couple minutes early, but I'll go ahead. I'm going to send you this. Robin Hamilton's the one who's done most of this, quite honestly. Y'all figured out I'm not smart enough to figure this out. But we've created a list of ways for them to get their hours without having to go to the building. And there's a lot of good things on here, and our folks are kind of ahead of the curve for things that they could do. And a lot of it, it has value, especially in these times. And so I have it on the screen now. But there's a lot of things on here, and so I will attach this to the recording from tonight. And so that's kind of where I wanted to start this evening, is clinical hours. I sat in on the audio of the state board meeting on Friday. I can't do that very often. I don't have that many brain cells to spare. I was significantly dumber after listening to that 2 hours. And they never got to the part that I was listening for, which was talking about clinical hours. They mentioned it like for nursing, and they mentioned it for student teachers, but they didn't mention anything about, and you couldn't ask them any questions. You just had to listen to their regular meeting. And so my assumption is there may be some kind of relief coming on the 80 hours, but I would not bet on that. A safer bet is for folks I'll share this list, is for them to find new and creative ways to get their hours. They have bigger fish to fry right now. I'm not sure. I listened to one section for an hour. I'm not sure I understood what they did, but it seemed like what they did was discontinue the K-3 reading program that they've been paying for, because they said they could save that money this quarter and put it on the next contract since they weren't going to be in school. So
wait, iStation?
iStation, that's correct. They're not going to pay.
You got to be freaking kidding me.
No, I'm not. They tabled it for right now. Dr.
You know what?
She argued.
Just on the whole damn town from Norwood.
And they were going to give them free lessons. This was their, they paid for the assessment. They were going to give them the entire catalog for free, and they said, nope. We want to save that $1.2 million on the rest of the contract for the remainder of the year. We don't want to make that payment, and that'll be part going forward. And I thought, well, now, if I was dealing with you and you didn't pay after you had a contract, I would soak you the next time around, or I would be doing something else. But
okay.
They all argued. They acted like $1.2 million was all the money in the world.
And with Mark Johnson not coming, I'm done. Okay, sorry.
It's just, I know. I was texting somebody during the middle of this, and I said, I've got to get off of this meeting or I won't have enough brain cells left to drive home. I'll just be stuck where I am. It was literally Dumb and Dumber. Who could be the dumbest? And so with that as the backdrop, I don't feel good about any relief coming on clinical hours. I just don't. They're very short-term people. And so we'll just need our folks to do the best that they can and try to find them any way that they can. Big thing to
Yeah.
remember is the time they spend on their evidence does
Okay.
count as clinical hours.
That's what I was gonna say, yeah.
We don't like to count those, and we don't tell them that unless we have to, but that is approved. Otherwise, if you tell them that, they generally just sit and do those all. That's all they count. And we want them to get out and do some different things. And so again, I'll go back to the share. Robin did most of this, and she's got a good list. I mean, a lot of this they can do just at their own discretion. I mean, like I like this one, create professional development for teachers in your school. They can do short videos and send them out to their colleagues. I mean, they can do things like that. I mean, they can do a lot of things from home. They can do grade level Zooms. They can be like the Zoom master and do that with their PLCs and with their own grade level teams and PLCs. There's a lot of things that they can do from home.
Dr. Lamb,
Yes.
I know you specifically mentioned Zoom, but I know that Zoom at the moment is not approved in Guilford County. So could it be some other vessel like Microsoft Teams or Google Hangouts if it's approved?
Anything like that'll be fine. I just assume that since they're familiar with Zoom, there's a lot they can do with Google Docs as well.
Okay, just checking. Thanks.
Yeah, and that's one of those things. And that kind of leads me into my next thing. I don't know if he's with us tonight. I've seen Joe Bullis sent me a thing today where, let me get out of that. And I'll send this link, 6 tips to deter Zoom bombers. I've noticed that, my classes are full now. The students are all coming online. I don't think we'll have people who crash in. And I know you all know how to use Zoom well enough that you know how to mute participants. But if you get some people who are just trolling, you can password protect your Zoom link. When you create the link, you can require a password that students have to join you if you're having that problem. He sent me this morning, and there's some good ones. I know y'all know how to screen share and keep people, and unless you make them the host, they can't screen share. So you can set that up host only when you set up the links as well. If people are trying to hijack your screen, you can mute all your participants, to go to participant and do that. And so I'll send this link as well. It's some good things to be reminded of.
Hey, Dale.
Yes.
This is Karen. Sorry. I can't show you guys my hair anymore from here on out because I can't get it colored. So it's going to have to be this picture from now on. So I apologize for that. One of the things that is going around with some of our districts in North Carolina right now is their kind of knee-jerk reaction, believe it or not, to not using Zoom as of like today because of some of what you're talking about, rather than reviewing this and realizing there are precautions to take place.
Right.
So maybe as we share some of that incredible list that you and Robin made, that maybe we could put Zoom / Google / Microsoft Teams, whatever platform, just because they're kind of freaking out right now because they had sort of scrambled for many of them to learn Zoom, and so many of our students were so grateful when Lisa and I talked to them last week because they already had that knowledge. But I think we may need to be prepared for the fact that some districts had a big knee-jerk reaction and just dropped it altogether.
Yeah. That whatever platform you use is fine, just as long as you have one. But yeah, that's what we normally do. We normally knee-jerk. That is true. I hate to hear that, but I'm not at all surprised.
Yeah, I was
And
frustrated by
so,
it, but
obviously, that's why Joe sent this, because I guess in his district they were having that problem. Jeff Hamilton and I talked one day toward the end of the week. One of the things that we're seeing, and of course, we don't have that problem so much in MELS, you know, we're asynchronous and we don't really require people to attend sessions. But if there happen to be some required sessions, one of the things going on now, let me stop the share so I can see y'all. One of the things that's going on now with Zoom is we're having to try to figure out with our doctoral students, with our face-to-face weekends, those obviously have been discontinued. We need to probably also work on some norms and protocols for synchronous online. If we require them to come, like you can't turn off your video. We got to see your smiling face. You know, my last weekend in Charlotte with my doctoral group this semester will be online only. And they're going to have to sit there for 2 days, and I'm going to have to see their smiling face. If it's supposed to be face-to-face, if they're supposed to be there, they can't just turn it on, mute it, turn off their video, and go to the mall or do whatever they're going to do. And so that's one of the problems that we've been having. And now students, because of that, now students are doing, and you're going to have to start looking. Now they're recording 4-second vines and making it in a loop. So that it looks like that they're sitting there looking at you, but actually it's a video of them sitting there looking at you. And so instead of a blank screen with their name, it's got them sitting there looking attentive, and said they caught one already because kept scratching their ear about every 4 seconds. They were grabbing their earlobe. And so hopefully we won't have that problem. We may have to have some synchronous sessions where they have to join us. That may be the next thing coming down the road. And if that happens, we're going to have to figure out a way. We'll have to have some norms. Jeff and I were working on those at the end of the week for face-to-face. And so if that happens, I'll put those out. Here are the norms. You know, you got to be there. You can't put a video up or turn your video off. And one of the things that we talked about is we're going to have to go back to prompting. Like Jamal, I want you to answer this question after I give them a little lead time. We're going to have to start doing that. And so I had a required session this past Saturday morning with my doctors, about 3.5 hours. And so I took and wrote down all their names, and I went through it, calling on them so that they wouldn't turn their video off, or so that they wouldn't do the video on the screen and make me think they were there. And so we've kind of come up with a set of norms for required Zoom or whatever platform we use. And if we have to do any of those, I will put those out if we have to do that. Kind of moving through my agenda here. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I don't see Dr. Bull on here tonight. I'm not sure what's going to happen with summer classes in terms of, I've got 2 schedules right now. I've got a regular where we're just going to roll it like we normally do. Then I've got a compacted where they can save some money by putting some classes together and doing overloads. I was told to build 2 schedules. Well, last word I had, we were still going to run the regular schedule, but after the faculty meeting on Friday, which was on Zoom with a bunch of people who can't use Zoom and don't even know how to use Blackboard. Now, you talking about a comedy show. If they said, we're not recording this, and I thought, oh, no, I would pay. I could be a millionaire if I could sell that recording. We had 150 people who can't even use Blackboard trying to use Zoom on Friday. Oh, I was crying. I was crying. I was laughing so hard. What a bunch. But they've already lost $1 million. And so I will be surprised if we don't do the compacted schedule where we just collapse several classes and cut down on salaries, because he said we were already into 7 figures on the loss. But it's probably inappropriate, but that's me anyway. I don't really care. So I was texting during this thing, as I normally do. I live text these things. Even when they're live, I'm just. So they were trying to figure out how to work it, And one fellow said, that wrote in the chat, that if you wanted to see the pictures, you had to swipe right to see more people. And I texted, I swiped right, and now I apparently have a date with a gentleman named Spike. What app he was on. So they thought they were on Tinder or Grindr or something. They were trying to swipe right. I was crying. The front of my shirt was wet. It was this complete disaster trying to have an online faculty meeting with people who don't use Zoom, who the face-to-face people, and who don't even use Blackboard in their classes. It was beyond the pale. And so they're up to their elbows in alligators now, trying to figure out what they're going to do with them, trying to get them going. And so this is the week, as we all know, it's that second week on online only is when the drops start. And so they started last Tuesday or Wednesday trying to teach online. So about today or tomorrow, the registrar is on site to drop people. I suspect that by the middle of this week, the drops will be, a lot of students will drop because of, the relatively inexperienced people trying to do Blackboard and Zoom through Zoom that don't use Blackboard and don't know how to use Zoom for classes. I'd say that's not going to go well. And so as we have found out, when we transition, especially in the master's program, new graduate students, first time online, who are used to seated, when they come with us, what anxiety they have during that first week, and they start dropping like flies if we don't get to them by that second week. I'm afraid that that's what's going to happen with the undergraduates this week. And as they drop and that money goes away, I'm afraid that we'll have to compact our schedule. So that's just a heads up. I have ordered the books for the summer and the fall. I've taken care of all of that. We've continued business as usual. But I'm suspecting that class size limits will blow up. They'll just ignore those, and we'll do 20, 30 students a class. Since we can actually deliver instruction online. And I'm guessing that the number of students dropping will be fairly significant. Hopefully not, since they were mid-semester, but you know as well as I do, hope's not a plan. So I'm expecting a lot of folks to drop on the undergraduate side, and that will greatly affect the financial fortunes of the university. The president did say that they're going to try to get some of the, I don't know what you call them, the virus funds, that there might be a little bit of that money for colleges, for private colleges, but not sure. No insurance, he said. They didn't have any insurance against something like this. I don't know if that's because we were self-insured or what, but he said there is no insurance. They have no, and we're down to about the end of reserves already. They're hoping to get some stimulus money. I guess that's what you call it, but that's just hope. They've not been told that they're going to get any. So they're struggling on the undergraduate side. We're doing fine. Everything's going well for us. Students are attending more. They're turning more work in. Quality of work, they've got more time now. Seems like the quality of the work's picked up as well. So, it's kind of lemonade for us rather than lemon. So I have no complaints on students. They've been great.
Yeah, mine are doing well.
Oh, yeah. Dr. Bull sent us an email, what was it, yesterday, Anita? I think it was yesterday or the day before, and said he hadn't got not one complaint on the graduate side. And I was like, well, duh.
Dale, this is Karen.
Monday in the
I
MELS
want to thank
program.
you for just a second. After we talked last and you brought that up about starting out our next class meetings with just kind of checking in, and
Yeah.
And I tell you, Lisa and I have gotten more just sincere positive feedback from starting out that way, and them saying, you know what, thank you for honoring how stressful that is for us and
Yes.
what we're trying to do. And so thank you for kind of doing something that we might not have thought of otherwise. And it just has meant a lot to them to know that they can kind of lay eyes on each other and have business as usual, but also know that somebody understands what they're going through, because so many of them who are classroom teachers, they're hearing all kinds of different things, and some of it is just amazing in terms of what they're being expected to do, and kind of outlandish in some cases in
Yeah.
terms of what they're being expected to do. So thanks for that guidance, because it meant a lot to mine and
Yeah.
Lisa's students, I know.
Yeah, we need to continue that. Thank you for reminding me of that, Karen. We need to continue that. Make sure, and Robin sent me an email last night, students who, anxiety is high on, and it's, we just have to reiterate, that we're doing gradual release. We're not just going to turn you loose. We're going to be there for you. I think a lot of it's their anxiety level, and that's true. And we need to be as personable and as student centered, as relationship oriented as we can. Of course, that's what we do all the time.
Yeah, a lot of one-on-one, Dale. I've had to do
Yeah.
some one-on-one, and just like one, she just asked for a 24-hour extension instead of Sunday night. So I'm looking to see it tonight, but if it doesn't, then I'll expect it maybe tomorrow. But that's all it took for her.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have hard and fast deadlines. We don't need to be. If it's
No.
Sunday night at 9, I mean,
No.
I had a lot come in this weekend, and I have some that,
Yeah.
I had a lot today. I've graded a couple
Yeah.
different times today, but that's okay. I mean, there's different things going on, and we kind of need to be that calm influence in their lives, because just like Gardner Webb's, transitioning from face to face, the undergraduates, I make light of it, but those people are struggling, and schools are struggling. And as Karen pointed out, we're getting knee-jerk reactions. People that didn't want to use Zoom to begin with and didn't like it, find any excuse, or didn't want to do the online, and I don't know what they thought they would do. And then you get some misuses, and people knee-jerk rather than figuring out how to work through it. And all the problems that people have had, if they knew how to use it better, you would get around all those things.
But
And
Dale,
so-
you've got some students that, like you said, have taken advantage of being at home. I have some AppTail work with task 1 and task 2 that's been turned in. The research for task 2, honestly, it could be published. The work is
Yeah.
that good with some of
Yeah.
the work that has been turned in.
Yeah, some of my 603s are already to task 4 of the skip. They're 3 weeks ahead. They've been out of school for a couple of weeks, and they've been working. They're 3 weeks ahead. Not all of them, but
No,
but
it's
yeah,
not
but
all of them. A lot of them have
the
taken
quality of
advantage
the work, I read one just a few minutes ago. That's what I was doing before I came home. I read one a few minutes ago. As good as I've seen. It was very detailed. And so we're, the work is good. I'm not complaining. But as Karen pointed out, we need to make sure that each time we come online with these folks, that we offer to come online more if they need it. We need to be very supportive during this time, because a lot of them are in situations where their job, they're having to convert from face-to-face to online, and the people that they work with and for, some of them are very limited. And so, Gardner Webb is doing 1 hour a day Zoom support for all the faculty there. That's just not enough. And Emily's doing 1 hour a day every day. But it's not just that. You got to redesign, as somebody pointed out Friday, you got to do a lot of actual content and syllabus redesign when you go from face-to-face to online. Just like with me, on my qualitative book for my doctoral students, the first 4 chapters we do live face-to-face, because it's participation, it's qualitative stuff where you interview somebody. Well, we can't do that. And so we're having to make adjustments to how we present material. Even for us, it's just for one weekend for me, but it's fairly easy. But what if you had everything that you had planned? You had to go back and revise and change and do those things. So it's stressful for the teachers, it's stressful for administrators, and it's I don't see any end in sight. I don't mean to be gloomy, Gus, but I don't see any end in sight. I fully anticipate that we'll finish out the regular school year this way. I don't see us cranking back up. If the word that came out of CDC today is, they're expecting it to continue pretty strong through August. I don't see us coming back to school this school year. So we need to be as relationship oriented as we can. I had planned, as I said, to unveil the summer schedule tonight, but we're going to have to wait and see. Hopefully within the next week, we'll figure out which one of the schedules that they'll go with. I drove through campus today. I just had to drop something off. I didn't get out, but they're having meetings, trying to figure out financial things now. And so I'm expecting by the end of this week for there to be a notification. We'll run regular summer schedule or the compacted schedule. They're meeting today and tomorrow concerning those kind of financial things. And so I apologize for not having the schedule, but I'm just having to wait till they make their decision. And so I think that's pretty much it. I don't want to take up all your time. I wanted to see everybody, make sure everybody's doing well. I worry about all of us. Some of you are young, but most of us are not. I don't mean to be ugly, but most of us aren't. And so it's a time for caution. I slipped out of quarantine for 2 days, and I'm back in quarantine for 2 more weeks, but I did get out for 2 days.
Dale, will you specify the difference in young and not?
I think anything less than 60 is young.
Well, I used to be there.
That's what I mean. I think if you're less than 60, you're young. I mean, that's CDC. They're making it over 60 and over and under 60. That's the way they've done it. I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's their definition. So we're all in all of us that are 60 and over are in the high risk category, unfortunately.
Well, as long as I get my discount at Hardee's, I'm okay.
Oh yeah. Yep. There are some small things. I was at the grocery store not too long ago before it stopped, and the young lady said, "Do you get the senior citizen discount?" Like it was a question. I said, "Bless your heart." At least made it like it could have been. It could have been in question. I say, at least I appreciate the thought. That was nice of you to ask, rather than just normally giving it to me. But yeah, but I know it's a tough time. I'm concerned. There's 3 cases in town where my wife is. I was there over the weekend, and I didn't see much social distancing going on, and so I'm back to the mountains again, where I can kind of isolate for a couple of weeks. I'm going to kind of do this 2 weeks at a time until see how it goes. But there's just too many cases, and there's 3 just right at my house, and so there's just too many cases in Mecklenburg to be there, especially in Cornelius, with 3 identified cases within a mile of where I live there. So I'm going to stay here for another 2 weeks and see how that goes. But I don't have anything else to do now, so I'm always available. So if you need anything, let me know. I appreciate what you do for me and for our students, especially for me. I appreciate all the support that you folks are. What a good job you do for them. And so, like I say, it's just Monday in the MELS program. We're continuing on. This is what we do every day. So I feel good about that and what's going on. So I'm going to attach the link to the Zoom, some helpful tips for Zoom, and also how the tips for getting more hours. I'll put those both when I send the link out for the video today. I appreciate it. I will see you all in 2 weeks, unless I hear something on the schedule, and I'll see you next Monday. Have a good week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here.